This video didn't just appear in your life by accident. Pause for a moment. Seriously, just stop scrolling for a second. Because this isn't random. Out of everything you could be doing right now, every distraction, every option, every path, you're here. And deep down, you already know why. You've been feeling it, haven't you? Not fully, not clearly, not in a way you can explain to someone else. But something is happening. Something subtle, something quiet, something shifting beneath the surface of your reality. It's not loud, it's not obvious, but it's there. It's like the air right before a storm changes. Except this time, you're not preparing for chaos. You're preparing for arrival, for something you've been moving toward, consciously or unconsciously, finally beginning to take shape in your life. And listen closely, because this part matters more than you think. That feeling you've been having, that's not false hope trying to fool you again. That's recognition, a deeper kind of knowing. Your soul recognizing that the shift has already begun, internally, silently, long before anything shows up in your external world. What you are about to witness in your life isn't the beginning. It's confirmation. Confirmation of what has already changed within you. You're close, closer than you realize. And this exact moment, this video finding you right now, it's one of the signs. So let's talk about those signs, because they are all around you, and most people miss them completely. Stay with me here, because if even one of these hits you, you'll know exactly where you stand. The first sign, you've stopped caring about things that once consumed you. And no, this isn't giving up. This isn't burnout. This isn't you becoming numb. This is growth. The drama that used to pull you in now feels exhausting to even watch. The approval you once chased feels irrelevant. The competition that once mattered feels like a game you've already walked away from. And let me pause you right here, because this is important. That's not apathy. That's elevation. You didn't lose interest. You outgrew it. Your energy, your awareness, your frequency has shifted so deeply that what once matched you no longer resonates with who you've become. And when your inner world changes like that, your outer world has no choice but to adjust. You're not losing things. You're making space. And space always gets filled, especially when it's created consciously. The second sign, you're making different decisions now. Not forced, not overthought, not driven by fear, just naturally, differently. You're saying no, where you used to say yes just to keep the peace. You're choosing rest, without guilt. You're walking away from things that look perfect on paper, but feel completely wrong inside. And here's where most people get confused. They think something is wrong with them. They think they're becoming difficult, or lost, or inconsistent. But you're not. You're aligning. You're finally making choices from truth instead of survival. And that changes everything, because abundance doesn't respond to force. It responds to alignment. You can't chase it. You can't manipulate it. You can only become the version of yourself that naturally attracts it. And that's exactly what you're doing right now. One aligned decision at a time. The third sign, and this one goes deeper than most people expect. You're no longer afraid of losing what you have. Not because it doesn't matter, but because you finally understand something you didn't before. What is meant for you cannot be taken from you. And what isn't meant for you was never meant to stay. That tight grip you once had on people, outcomes, timelines, it's loosening. You're holding life differently now, with open hands. And that shift changes everything. Because here's a truth most people never realize. You cannot receive more while clinging tightly to less. Abundance requires space. It requires trust. It requires release. And without even noticing, you've been releasing. Every time you let go of control, every time you chose trust over fear, every time you stopped chasing and started allowing, you were preparing. And now, your reality is preparing to meet you there. The fourth sign, time feels different now. Not in a dramatic, obvious way, but in a subtle shift that only you can truly feel. You're no longer obsessing over when it's going to happen. That constant urgency, that restless need to figure everything out, it's fading. You're no longer measuring your life against someone else's timeline. No more comparing your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel. No more silently asking, why not me yet? That question, it's losing its grip on you. You're not counting days anymore. You're not tracking progress like something is missing. You're just here, fully here, present in a way you haven't been before. And what's even more surprising is this: you're at peace, not because you have all the answers, but because you've stopped needing them. And that is powerful, because the moment you shift from needing certainty to being okay with the unknown, everything begins to realign. That transition from anxious waiting to calm presence, that's not small. That's the shift that happens right before everything changes. That's the moment where your energy stops chasing and starts attracting. Because abundance doesn't come to people who are running after it with desperation. It doesn't respond to pressure. It doesn't respond to fear. It comes to those who are ready to receive it, open, grounded, unattached, without fear, without control, without the hidden patterns of self-sabotage. And look at you. You're not waiting anymore. Not in the way you used to. You're not stuck in that space of almost. You've moved beyond that. You're ready. And being ready, that's what activates everything. That's what signals to life, to the universe, to whatever you believe in, that you're no longer preparing. You've become. The fifth sign, this one is subtle, but undeniable once you notice it. You're being pulled toward things that don't make logical sense. Things that don't fit into your old plan. A random idea that won't leave your mind. A sudden urge to try something new. A quiet nudge in a direction you never considered before. And logically, it doesn't add up. It doesn't feel safe. It doesn't feel predictable. But somehow, it feels right. And that feeling, that inner pull, don't ignore it. Because that's not confusion. That's guidance. That's something deeper than logic, trying to move you. That's alignment in motion. That's life quietly repositioning you for something you can't fully see yet. And here's where it gets interesting. Abundance doesn't always arrive through the doors you've been staring at. It doesn't always follow your plan. Sometimes, it enters through completely unexpected paths. Paths you didn't even think to look at. And that's why your job isn't to understand every step. Your job isn't to control the outcome. Your job is to trust it and follow where it leads. And the truth is, you've already been doing that. Even when it didn't make sense, even when it felt uncertain, even when it scared you, even when there was no visible proof that it would work out, you still moved, you still listened, you still took steps forward. And that willingness to move without certainty, to trust without guarantees, that's rare. And that's exactly what makes you magnetic to change. And now, the final sign, the one that brings everything together, the one that confirms this isn't just in your head. You feel different when you look at yourself, not physically, not on the surface, but energetically, internally. There's a calm within you now that wasn't there before, a steadiness, a quiet strength, a certainty that doesn't need to prove itself to anyone. You don't feel the need to explain yourself anymore. You don't feel the need to seek validation for who you are or where you're going. There's a grounded presence in you now. That external noise can't shake the way it used to. You're not pretending anymore, not shrinking, not performing, not trying to fit into versions of yourself that no longer feel true. You're not forcing anything anymore, not outcomes, not connections, not timing. You've stepped into something real, something honest, something aligned. And in doing that, you've completely shifted your relationship with abundance. You stopped believing it's something you have to chase, something you have to earn through struggle, something that's always just out of reach. And you started understanding something deeper. Abundance is something you align with, something you become, something that naturally flows toward you when you stop resisting who you truly are. And right now, whether you fully realize it or not, you are standing in that version of yourself. So pause again, not just to hear these words, but to actually feel them. Let everything slow down for a second. Let the noise fade. Let your mind stop trying to analyze and just allow this moment to land. Because this isn't just something you listen to and move on from. This is something you recognize, something you remember. So don't rush past it, sit with it, breathe it in, and ask yourself honestly, what is it inside you that's reacting right now? Because if something within you is stirring, if there's a quiet sense of recognition, if this feels a little too accurate, a little too personal, like it's speaking directly to something you haven't been able to put into words, then pay attention. Because moments like this don't happen randomly. They don't just appear without reason. If this feels like it found you at exactly the right time, That's not coincidence. That's alignment. That's confirmation. Confirmation that you're exactly where you need to be. Even if your mind hasn't fully caught up to that truth yet, you're standing at the edge of a shift, and not the kind you've experienced before. Not temporary, not surface level, not something that comes and goes. This is different. This is real. This is deep. This is the kind of shift that changes how you see yourself, how you experience life, how you move through the world from this point forward. A permanent shift, the kind that doesn't reverse, the kind that redefines everything. And here's the part most people don't realize until later. The signs you've been waiting for, they're not on their way. They're already here. They've been showing up in small, quiet ways. In your thoughts, in your feelings, in the things you've started to outgrow, in the decisions you've been making differently, in the peace you've been feeling in moments where there used to be anxiety. That's the evidence. That's the proof. The inner work, the healing, the releasing, the breaking of old patterns, the moments where you chose growth instead of comfort. It's already happened. You've already done more than you give yourself credit for. And because of that, something has shifted, something real, something irreversible. And now, your outer world is beginning to reorganize itself around that new version of you. Even if you can't fully see it yet, even if it hasn't completely materialized yet, it's happening, behind the scenes, beneath the surface, in ways you don't need to control to trust. You're close, closer than you've ever been before. Not because time has passed, not because you've waited long enough, but because you've changed. Your mindset has changed. Your energy has changed. Your standards have changed. Your relationship with yourself has changed. And when you change at that level, everything around you is forced to shift to match it. That's how this works. That's why this moment matters. So don't treat this lightly. Don't let this just be another video, another message, another passing thought. Make this a decision, a real one, a grounded one, a conscious one. So say this, not casually, not half-heartedly, but with intention, with awareness, with presence. I see the signs. I'm ready. The shift is already happening. Say it like you mean it. Say it like you understand what it represents. Because those words aren't just affirmation. They're alignment. They're acceptance. They're you stepping into the version of yourself that no longer doubts what's unfolding. Let it sink in. Don't rush past that feeling. Let it settle into your body. Let it become something you believe, not just something you repeat. Because very soon, things are going to start becoming clear. What once felt uncertain will begin to make sense. What once felt invisible will begin to show itself. What once felt like waiting will turn into movement, real movement. This won't feel quiet for much longer. It won't feel subtle. It won't feel like something you have to question or second guess. It will be undeniable, obvious, real in a way you can see, feel, and experience fully. And when that moment comes, you'll look back at this version of yourself, this exact point in time, and you'll realize this was the turning point. This was the moment everything started shifting for real. So trust where you are. Trust what you feel. Trust what's unfolding. Even if you don't fully understand it yet, you're not lost. You're not behind. You're not missing anything. You're exactly where this transformation needed you to be. You're close. Closer than you think. You're ready. More ready than you've ever been before. And everything you've been moving toward, everything you've been becoming, everything that's been aligning behind the scenes is about to step forward into your reality. And when it does, there will be no doubt left. Only clarity, only alignment, only truth. You're close, you're ready, and everything is about to change.